Well, happy Friday to you both. We are getting so close to the end of session. This is, if we stay on schedule, should be our second to last weekly call as we're anticipating session wrapping up next Friday, which is exciting. We've seen a lot of great progress this session, and we're looking forward to another fantastic update, Anita. Let's just get started thanking our sponsors that make this possible. We want to say thank you to the City of Clearwater, Clearwater Gas System, Duke Energy, Hill Ward Henderson, Morton Plant Hospital and the Baycare Health System, and Charter Spectrum Communications for your support of all of our legislative and public policy efforts and initiatives. So with that, Anita, please share your update for this week. We look forward to hearing.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I am actually in Tallahassee this Friday because we are in the middle of budget conference now that session is winding down. The conference committees in each of the individual silos have been meeting since Tuesday is when they first started convening. Those unresolved issues have now been bumped up to the budget chair levels for the full appropriations committees in both chambers. We do anticipate that they'll probably meet continuing throughout the weekend, hopefully having everything wrapped up by early next week so that, like Christina said, we can end session on time next Friday. A couple of quick things just to have on our radar as they're going through budget conference and trading offers back and forth. Visit Florida, both the House and Senate have 50 million set aside for Visit Florida. The debate right now, though, is that the Senate would like to see that 50 million become recurring, which means that we wouldn't have to be going every single year and asking for that 50 million. It would automatically be in the budget. However, the House would like to see that stay non-recurring. So that is a little bit of the debate kind of going back and forth between both chambers. But the good news is, out of the way, it looks like we're going to end up with the full funding at $50 million. Regarding the Sadowski Trust Fund, which goes towards affordable housing programs, we had shared previously that the House had reduced that funding in their proposed budget. The good news is, though, that both the House and Senate have now agreed to full funding of the trust fund to go towards those affordable housing programs. We have not seen, finalized proviso on those funds quite yet, but it does look like we're going to get full funding, so that is great news. Regarding the tax package, we've shared the specific details into what is in the proposed House tax package. Previously, that bill has passed the House. It now goes to the Senate. We do believe that the Senate is very likely going to amend it. Not quite sure exactly what those amendments are going to look like just yet, but we have heard that they'll probably add a couple of things in there that they would like to see and send it back to the House. So the tax package usually tied up within budget negotiations, within negotiations on House and Senate priorities. So very likely we'll probably go back and forth between the two chambers at least one time, if not a couple of times. Now that we're in the second to last week of session and almost done with the second to last week of session, the House and Senate have passed several bills that are now ready for the governor's signature. They haven't been sent quite yet to the governor, but they've been agreed upon. They've passed both chambers and they are ready to go when the legislature decides to send them. A couple of bills that we've been tracking for Amplify that are ready for the governor. A bill that would allow municipalities to regulate smoking on public beaches that has passed. So great news. Hopefully that will help with some of the litter on the beaches that we see. It does exempt cigars. However, it would include other forms of tobacco smoking. Another bill that addresses local tax referendums that would require those referendums to be held at general elections. That bill has also passed both chambers and will be sent to the governor for signature. An issue that we've been very closely watching and engaging on for Amplify, talking to both of our delegation members, Representative Cheney, Senator Hooper, is the Visit Florida reauthorization. We had shared previously that we expected from both sponsors that we would probably get a 5-year extension as opposed to the Senate's proposed 8-year extension. The House has now amended the Senate bill to reduce it to that 5-year extension, as we had expected. It'll now go back to the Senate. We don't anticipate any problems with it being approved. Like I said, Senator Hooper had anticipated that that would be the deal either way. But, you know, I think we're happy 5 years is much, much longer than the year-to-year reauthorization we had been going through previously. Affordable housing is something that has been a big topic of conversation this session, particularly as, you know, it affects our workforce. As we know, in Pinellas County, it's become a significant issue. A bill that we've shared previously that allows more flexibility regarding zoning ordinances. What has now passed the House, it's on its third reading in the Senate today. So that bill is looking great. It'll give local governments more ability to approve residential development projects on areas that are zoned for commercial or industrial use if a portion of the project is for affordable housing. So great news, especially in our more urban areas like Pinellas County, where we have a lot of density. So that bill is on the right track coming into the last week of session. Human trafficking is something, you know, certainly as a tourism industry, we're all engaged in. A bill that we've shared previously that would require fire safety inspectors to be trained in how to identify human trafficking has now passed the House. It's on special order, which means it's on its second reading in the Senate today. So that bill does look like it is also heading on the right track. It'll just give us another, you know, set of eyes to make sure that we are catching those bad actors that might be, you know, not only in the tourism industry, but in all other types of industries where we sometimes see human trafficking happening. A handful of items, probably more than a handful of items that are still up in the air as we approach the final week of session. Property insurance is something that both the House and Senate and the governor's office are very keen on trying to address the rising rates. Certainly this impacts our affordable housing, our workforce, our businesses as our insurance rates continue to rise. So I do anticipate that a property insurance package is going to kind of continue to move back and forth between the two chambers as they negotiate that. The focus this year is on addressing roof claims, which the legislature has kind of pinpointed as an area of concern, similar to, you know, many years ago, we addressed things like sinkhole claims, for example, that are causing rates to rise. So I do think that bill is going to be moving back and forth as they negotiate it, but definitely something that is of big interest to the legislature and the governor's office this year. Broadband infrastructure, a bill that's a priority for our great Amplify member charter. This bill would help with expanding broadband access in our more rural areas. Another bill that's being kind of traded back and forth and still to be seen what happens with that bill. Net metering, y'all might have heard about this. You might be seeing some commercials. This bill addresses rooftop solar. It's trying to cut a balance between the utilities and those rooftop solar companies. You know, certainly utility rates are something that are a big focus of, you know, not only all of us personally, but of course to our businesses. That bill also trying to find some sort of a balance and negotiation between the two chambers. Finally, another bill that we're watching, it's a Senate priority that we've shared previously, which addresses local ordinances that impact our businesses and affect their revenues at an amount greater than 15%. It would allow those businesses the ability to file suits against local governments. That bill has already passed the Senate. It's ready for the floor in the House. I do think it's probably very likely to pass because it's a Senate priority, but I do think it's something that they'll probably hold up related to other high-level negotiations going on between the two chambers. Bills that right now, and I say right now because anything can change in the last week of session, that look to probably be dead for this session are related to motor vehicle insurance. Of course, the legislature has been trying to find a balance to repeal PIP after the governor vetoed that bill last year. It did move in both chambers. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like either chamber has an appetite to try to address that again this year. So it does look to be dead right now. Tourist development changes for those taxes. Again, we had shared a very narrowly written bill that would allow some flexibility for our fiscally constrained counties to use those taxes for other purposes. That bill never moved in the Senate. So I do think unless something gets put into the tax package, which we'll be very closely watching, it is probably dead for this year. Finally, vacation rentals. Again, this bill comes up every single year trying to address local regulation of vacation rentals. Unless something happens, it gets pulled from committees in other chamber. It does look like it might be kind of dead for this session as well. One last thing just to have on everyone's radar, we try to touch on this and give you guys updates, is on redistricting. Because it is a redistricting year, the Supreme Court ruled yesterday that the House and Senate maps related to House and Senate districts that have previously been passed were constitutional. So we do now have our House and Senate state district lines ready for our upcoming elections in 2022. The remaining item to be determined are our congressional maps. As we've previously shared, the governor's been weighing in on the congressional maps. He has threatened to veto the maps that the legislature had proposed previously. The House is now moving forward with a proposal that has two different maps, one which aligns with the governor's wishes, but there is concerns that it's not constitutional. So should the Supreme Court strike that map down, they're also passing a second map that would be the backup. So that's been being debated in the House just yesterday. It will have to go to the Senate for approval, but certainly kind of watching that to see what happens to our congressional districts in Pinellas County and the Tampa Bay area. So another quick rundown of what's going on here. We have one more week of legislative session, a lot more to come. And we'll definitely be keeping you guys updated.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Anita. That was a lot. And I know that list grows as we get close to the end of session. So thank you for all your thoroughness and your due diligence and kind of keeping track of all the things that would affect our business community and Amplify's members, as well as just Tampa Bay in general. If anyone has any questions for Anita, I invited via the chat function for you to post them there, or the Q&A function. Anita, I know you're 7 days and counting, 8 days and counting, something like that, right? Do they sine die on Sunday? Is that right, next Sunday?
They'll sine die on Friday.
On Friday, okay.
As long as the budget's done on time, we need a 72-hour cooling off period by the time the budget's done before they can vote on it. So as long as the budget's done on time, we will be out of here on time.
Yay. Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. I know that's been an effort the last couple of years of Speaker Sprouse to wrap everything up within the allotted time frame of session and get everybody back home to their families and to their lives. So, well, I don't see any questions coming in. Thank you, Anita, for your time again this morning. I wish you endurance for the next several days. And thank you so much to our sponsors once again for making this possible. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend.